Hello, my name is Doug Brown. I'm Executive Director of the Connecticut Bar Association, and welcome to this episode of BarChat. Today I have with me Seana Turner. She's an entrepreneur and founder of the Seana Method. Her business is about helping people make the most of their time, space, and belongings. Welcome, Seana. Thanks for joining us.
It's my pleasure to be here.
You know, I've been practicing law for many years, and when I was a young lawyer, I would walk into a partner's office and there was a path basically cleared from the door to the desk and the little head poking up behind the pile of papers. And your business is about helping people get organized.
That's right.
And you know, from the young age, you can walk to any lawyer's office and say, there's some help needed there.
Yeah, sometimes that habit starts with the teenage room and carries on through the professional room.
That's kind of frightening.
Yeah.
So what kind of thing, you've been working for many years with professionals and entrepreneurs who may start off organized, then they get successful and they get busy and they kind of lose it. So what have you seen as the challenges that kind of person has in organization? Right,
well, my experience mostly is that people have a great idea, they get started, their business model is fairly simple, and they're able to manage the paperwork, the business part, and their professional work. But then as success comes in, which of course is a good thing, their complexity increases. And they maybe hire someone or two people, and then maybe they need to get a little more space, and then they need to buy some new technology to support the business. And suddenly the complexity increases and they find themselves feeling a little uncomfortable or a little out of control, and things aren't quite buttoned up, and maybe I'm not being as efficient as I could be. And so that's the kind of situation where we can come in, celebrate the success of the business, and they maybe just recast a few of the operational systems so that they can be more efficient.
So your business is the Seana Method. Are you about, putting your own system in, putting processes in? How do people get started? It might be kind of frightening for someone who has always had a way of doing things and is resistant to change. So how do you help them get started?
Yeah, so I never enforce anything on anyone. The method that I have is to customize it to fit the individual, because if they want a system that will last, that they're going to maintain, it really needs to fit them, their personality, their operational style, their space. It's tailored to them. There are some fundamental principles that pretty much carry across all situations, but what we try to do is go in and understand the client and what their specific needs are. I never tell them what to do. I never tell them to throw anything away, and I never want them to feel embarrassed or like they have failed in some way because their space is disorganized. It's a common problem. Complexity in the professional landscape is definitely on the rise. The pace of professionalism is much increased, and that has stressed people out. Maybe go back 50, 60 years, your legal environment was much simpler and you had more time.
Much different pace.
Much more time to do the work that you had to do. Today we have clients who expect an instant response. There is a lot of pressure on professionals to work 24/7. Their clients can reach them via email or text, you know, if they're on the West Coast and you're on the East Coast. All of these things make it more difficult to stay organized.
You mentioned some of the principles. You go in and you customize. What are a couple of principles that our viewers might be able to take and think about in their space?
So I always say number one principle is you need to establish a home for every item that is in your space. If you do not have a space that you've decided will be the place it lives, then it's going to just be hanging out on your desktop or on the floor or wherever it lands. And then they really have no chance of putting it away because they haven't decided where away really is. So that's the first thing you need to do. And then I also suggest that, especially if you work in an office with more than one person, that you label the space as soon as you've identified it. If you label it, you increase the chance that the other members of the office will put things away properly. So
it's some stuff as simple as when you arrive at the office, always putting your phone in the same place.
Absolutely.
Having your gear in the same place when you come in, that kind of thing.
And providing a space for everyone who's in your office. Where are they to hang their coat? Where are they to put their briefcase? Where are they to charge their devices? This is a growing issue because people have 3 and 4 devices now. And have you made that an easy thing to do? So it's, and if you use the same space over and over and you form that habit, not only does it make it easier just from a clutter perspective, but you are also a lot more likely to realize if you're missing something because it's not in the designated space.
So is there a certain level of mess that somebody can still be messy and organized, or do you have to have the perfectly clean desk
Right.
to be organized?
That's such a great question. And it's something, I think people confuse two concepts here.
Okay.
One is about how something looks, and the other is about how it functions.
Okay.
Okay, so there are two kinds of people. There are the everything out people and the everything in people.
Okay.
And both kinds of people can be either organized or disorganized. So if you're an everything out person, you probably feel more comfortable when your supplies are out and easily accessible. So maybe you have piles on your desk or on a credenza behind you.
Sure.
But perhaps those piles are very well organized and you know exactly what is where. Likewise, you can have somebody who's an everything in person who does not like visual clutter, but they may have the bad habit of just opening drawers and cabinets and shoving, and then they actually can't put their hands on what they need. So those concepts are different. To be organized means that you can find what you need when you need it. So it's about how your system works from a functional standpoint, not from an appearance standpoint.
Okay.
So I always work with the client's natural inclination. What kind of person are you? And I pretty much know that after I've been in their space for about 10 seconds.
So if somebody's saying, okay, I don't have to be a neat freak to be
That's
organized.
right.
I can have a certain amount of chaos in my visual space. What are a couple suggestions that people could say, you know, I want to give this a try. I want to try to make a change and just get started and feel more organized.
Right. So there are some habits you can develop that I think if you can take them one at a time, and that's, I don't want to overwhelm people. We're not going to organize their whole office in 4 hours. That's
You're not going to come in and throw everything away and start over
No,
again.
and I never tell anybody to throw anything away. I reassure them because I think that's a fear sometimes that people have, is an organizer will come in and tell them to
They're going to
throw
move
things
everything,
away.
won't be able to find it.
Can't
right?
find it. So we're going to start small, and if I say when you're going to start with something that's causing you some pain and that you control. So don't start by organizing your admin's desk. That's the wrong place to begin.
Start solving the other people's problems.
Solving other people's problems. Begin with your own problems in your own space and start somewhere small. Perhaps a drawer is a nice place to start. So maybe organize the drawer that's right in front of your chair. So we can start small, we can establish some order there, because it's a two-part system. The first is establishing order, and that's finding the home for everything, as I mentioned. And that's not only paperwork and pens, but it's also on your computer desktop where your digital files
Oh, the digital
going to
files,
live.
yes.
So some people think, well, I'll just scan it all in and clear off my desk, but all they've done is create a mess on their computer instead of the mess on their desk.
It's a virtual mess.
It's a virtual mess, and that can be even more difficult to sort through and solve. So let's not do that,
Right,
If we're
right.
going to establish a system, let's make sure it includes everything, our digital, our paperwork, our office supplies, and not only within the physical office space, but for people who are out and about, maybe going back and forth to a court. It's important to establish order in the bags that you bring along so that you make sure you
Okay.
always have appropriate supplies. Your phone is always here, your planner is always here, your paperwork is here, and again,
And the time invested doing that actually saves you time later, right?
so much time, so much time. Really, it doesn't take long to set up a system. A couple of hours can make a huge amount of difference, and it can be very, very freeing to clear clutter. The second part of the system then comes from maintaining, and
Right.
that can be the bigger challenge, just as with weight
Sticking with it,
loss,
right, yeah.
Sticking with it. Again, start small and see victory in a small area in your space, and then maintain it and then try another. So when I go in, if someone's office is a mess, there's no shame in that. Probably you're a very successful person, and that's why you have the mess. So let's start taking it piece by piece. But once we set up the organizational system for a space, a drawer, a desk, a file
Sure.
cabinet, then that's when I'm going to come in and say, now I'm going to hold you accountable
Right.
to maintain it. And if that means you need someone to come in once a month and kind of just put everything back and make sure that you're running smoothly, that's fine. You know, everybody has different things they enjoy doing. So
Well, this is so important for lawyers because clients feel that if they're dealing with us in a high stress situation.
Yes.
And if they feel like their lawyer is organized because they're all buttoned up, they've got it together, they know where things are, they're going to feel confidence.
That's right. It's
in
very,
what
very
that
important.
lawyer is doing.
A big part of the professional presentation that you give to a client, if you're a lawyer, is I've got your back, you can exhale, I will make sure everything's covered and everything's done properly. So you don't want to be rushing in late. You don't want to show up at an appointment ill-prepared or missing in a critical supply or look like you're shuffling to find something. That's not the message you want to send.
So one of the things when we were talking before we went on camera here is there's actually science behind this. I mean, it's not as if someone says, gee, I'm an organized person, I'm going to teach other people. You've had training, and like lawyers have a profession, there's a profession that helps people with this, right?
That's right. There is an association, National Association of Professional Organizers.
I bet it's very organized.
It's very organized. You should come to our conference. It's the most organized conference out there. So there is a lot of study and science. There are different areas of the profession as well. A lot of people, when they hear about organizers, think of the show Hoarders.
Right.
That's elevated awareness about our profession, but that's actually a subspecialty for people who have what we call a challenging disorganization that's affiliated with an emotional disorder.
So it's okay then if lawyers don't know how to do this and they want to reach out to a professional to help them be more efficient.
It's more than okay. As I say, you're probably probably have the clutter because you're successful and you've got a lot of clients, and maybe you don't want to spend your time doing this. Just like maybe you don't want to spend your time doing the billing, so you hire someone to do that, or you don't want to do the filing, so you hire a file clerk.
Great point.
So an organizer can come in and work with you over maybe 20, 30-hour period, get everything set up and running well, and then maybe 5 years down the road, if your business has changed a lot, you can call an organizer back. It's not a huge investment of time, but it is an investment of time. It does require some intentionality, and it can save so much time and make you so much more efficient, which creates a less stressful environment.
And I know so many of our small firm practitioners are and our large firms too are in the situation you described. They're very successful. They're very busy. They want to have time with their families. So this sounds like it could help them do that.
Yeah, definitely.
So Seana and the Seana Method, thank you. Seana Method, right? Got that right?
Seana Method.
Thank you very much.
It was so nice to be here.
Thank you for coming.